Hello, welcome to Stronger Everyday Podcast with Fitness Beast Athletics. And today I have the most awesome privilege of introducing you guys to Rachel Madrowski, an outstanding fitness coach and all around person who's involved with fitness in general. Like she's an excellent coach. She coached me through some great things and she's gone on stage, which we're going to get into later on. She's done everything from A to Z pretty much. So with that, let's go, Rachel. Introduce yourself.
Hi, how's it going, Dave?
Good, good, good.
Good.
So, tell me about you.
About me. So, yes, I'm a personal trainer. I'm working right now at a gym called Platform 6610. So, I'm seeing clients there for one-to-one coaching in person, as well as hosting an online coaching service for more independent athletes. So, this is in cases where someone would want expert guidance and programming without needing to spend that one-on-one time specifically in the gym with their coach or trainer. And I'm a recently certified massage therapist as well. So I'm going to be starting that as part of my practice as well soon.
That's amazing. So, you're going to be offering a full service, not only how to hurt your muscles, but to make them better too.
Exactly, exactly.
Awesome. Okay. One of the reasons I'm interviewing you is because you have one of the most relatable stories I've ever seen or heard of, right? I mean, from what I remember, you got into motherhood. You got into fitness and training because you became a mother, so to speak, right? So, like, walk us through that. Like, tell us like how you went from Rachel, the artiste, to Rachel, the kick-ass bodybuilding mom.
Yeah, so I mean, my studies were always in studio arts and visual arts. I was in Dawson and Concordia University in like the fine arts programs. And then I just had a full shift towards fitness after my son was born. And I basically, I realized that I wasn't really strong enough physically to actually care for him. So I noticed that when I was literally struggling to hold him for long periods of time. And I was very alarmed by that and realized that I had to get myself into shape to be a good mom. And so I kind of just started with your basic, couple sets of dumbbells, doing bicep curls at home, not knowing much about anything. And it quickly became a passion because I saw the progress. I started being able to lift a little heavier, and you see your body transform. And I fell in love with the whole thing, and I decided right then and there to certify as a coach so that I could help other people go through the same process. And yeah, haven't looked back since. It's just been full fitness world since then.
No, that's amazing. Like, okay, shifting from the arts to fitness, right? What was it like going into the fitness world from the artistic world, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I was scared. As an artist, I was kind of spending a lot of time alone. I was quite sedentary. I was kind of in my own private space, just privately expressing myself creatively. Whereas in the fitness world, it feels a lot more exposed and out in the open. You're in a shared space, a public gym. I mean, I started training at home alone, but then shifted to the gym eventually because, as you get stronger, you kind of want more equipment. And yeah, I was pretty nervous about that. And people are looking around and you're looking around, you don't always know what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, in that same way, it really it forces you to grow and to gain confidence. It kind of puts you in an uncomfortable situation, like I guess many new endeavors would. And yeah, the shift happened kind of seamlessly over time, and I still feel uncomfortable at the gym sometimes. It's rare, but there are moments where it happens. So just taking it day by day and just focusing on your stuff, just like you would in a room alone. You can do the same in the gym.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you're saying that because yeah, like that's a big thing in gyms. Like there's always this perception, especially with women going into gyms, so that being gawked at, being harassed, all this kind of stuff, right? Um, so no, the fact that you're such a strong example of like, going to the gym, pushing yourself through it, and from having met you and trained with you and stuff like that, like I'm an outgoing person. I talk to the wall, right? So for me, it doesn't matter. But you don't come off as that, right? That you're more of a you're like you can be extroverted, but you're more introverted from what I've gathered from being around you. So like getting that into the mindset also and still being able to go to the gym not only for yourself to train but also to train other people is super impressive, and that's a kind of resilience and strength you gain from going to the gym as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like a progressive overload of character as well, just as much as the gains in the gym. The reason that one-on-one coaching suits me so much is because, yes, I am more of an introverted type, and we're in a public space. There's people around. There's kind of an aspect of this feeling of maybe being watched by the people around you, but it is still that kind of one-on-one, more intimate experience that I have with the client and try to just dial in on that one person for that hour. And that's really something that I enjoy. And I'm not a group class type, let's just say.
So there'll be no Zumba classes for you in the future, leading a group of 20
No,
people.
not for
That's
you.
fair. That's fair. Um, so throughout your training, right? Like, I'm not sure if bodybuilding competitions of that has really been like a focus of what you wanted to do. But in this case, like, I know you've done one competition, and what interested you about trying to go up on stage and, well, what bodybuilding or bikini competitions are, it is showing yourself off, right? So,
For
so
sure.
what was that progression like? What interested you in doing that?
Yeah, great question. So there's a lot to it. I was always initially more interested in strength. I was really interested in powerlifting. I kind of loved the idea of just continually getting stronger and focusing on the numbers and less on the physique. Of course, I had aesthetic and physique goals as well, but I felt that it wasn't the best thing for me mentally to purely focus on that. So I really turned to the numbers to have kind of more mental stability, quite frankly. And then I had a couple of injuries, and there were certain limitations with that. So I felt like bodybuilding was kind of the next way for me to get competitive and excel to a higher level without being in fear of reflaring my past injuries. So it was really just a desire to get uncomfortable and do something that's a little scary because I
Yeah.
think that's where you grow. And I like challenges like that. I like kind of stepping into the unknown, but um, yeah, it was kind of a why not type of thing.
Okay. 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 No, that makes sense. And just to follow up quickly, like, what did you take away from the experience?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Well, I would say that if I had to actually break it down to one main thing, it would be just the transformation that it had on my approach to nutrition that carried over to this day. There were so many things, gosh, but my coach taught me a lot about nutrition and fueling your body for your goals. And that included, we went through a growth and a cutting phase. So I had the experience of both there, just kind of really increasing your caloric intake and going in with the purpose of getting bigger and putting on muscle, and then going into that next cutting phase of shedding down the fat and showing off the muscle that you've built. So that's the kind of basic concept of bulking and cutting, but then she really took it to a whole other level. This is my coach was Irina Dubrovina, so her we can maybe include her Instagram stuff in there in the
Yeah.
caption,
Yeah.
but yeah, she taught me things on a more detailed level. So kind of just not just the macros, like we're talking micronutrients, like we got deep into supplementation and so on. So these are things that I just continued practicing them even after competition was over, and that has definitely transformed my physique in the long run and my lifestyle.
Okay, that's actually interesting because I know before you competed, I used to like I did stalk you on Instagram too. So I saw you were kind of like you did show your food. You had like Rachel's poke bowl type things, that you were showing and stuff like that, right? But how did that kind of change? Like, because you still kind of showed some of the same um nutrition type of meals, like poke bowls type things, but like, how did it change? Like, what was it? Your macros you were looking at? Like, what is it that changed in what you're putting in your bowl, so to speak?
Great question. Yeah, well, I learned more in terms of oh, basically it was I learned more about the effect of certain foods on your hormones, which I think is particularly interesting for women. So, just the importance of fats and like what is the right amount of fats, the right amount of carbs for performance, and then of course, my my knowledge prior was kind of just hit your protein, make sure you hit your protein, but there's just so much more to it than that. you know, an emphasis on fiber, just kind of like ticking off the boxes on meeting all of your health standards because your health matters, obviously, but then it also is directly correlated with your success. It reflects in the body. Like a thriving system on all fronts is going to present better. So yeah, just pinpointing exactly what supplementation was best for me instead of kind of having a random multivitamin, just really being nitpicky about what we're putting in our body, and everything is just very intentional. So
Okay.
quantities were definitely adjusted and the quality was not just random.
Okay. No, but that's awesome. And since then, have you increased your calories overall, or have you gone back to like what you were eating before, or how is that being followed now?
So I've done both. I went through another mini bulk and a cutting phase, and currently I'm going through. It's summertime. I'm doing a cut, but I mean it's not as structured or rigid as it was obviously for a competition. But
Yeah.
I became really comfortable with tracking, so I do track my intake no matter what my goal is in that moment. I just like knowing kind of what I'm having, but the foods are largely the same. I'm very simple with my diet. I eat what's in line with my goals that I enjoy, and that's it.
Hey, that's awesome. Okay, to get back to the bodybuilding for a second, can you describe the reality of what it was like preparing for the bodybuilding show, both physically and mentally? Because I remember I saw you a couple of times where it looked like you were a little bit hyper. I saw you at other times where felt like I wanted to hug you and carry you home. But so just like tell me, describe that whole thing for me and like our watchers and everything. Like, what was it like to actually compete in one of these types of shows?
Yeah, so definitely there were times where I would have wanted you to hug me and carry me home, but it was more near the end phases, as you're closer to competition stage day, it just gets tougher as you go because your calories get lower and, you're trying to just really get as lean as humanly possible. So the more fat that you lose, the more chance you have of becoming injured, the more chance you have of getting sick. And it's just you become vulnerable overall. And for women specifically, it's difficult on a hormonal level to be at such a low body fat percentage. And I would say that was my main struggle. So I
Yeah.
was having a lot of struggles with keeping up my energy to continue coaching clients while undergoing that prep process. I know people that are doctors and do it. Honestly, so much respect for that. I genuinely have no idea how they do that. But for me, at least, the last 4 months felt like a chronic hormonal imbalance that just really caused a lot of struggle for me. But there were a lot of factors, stress and so on, and things that, you learn it the hard way. And I would do better next time if I wanted to. I don't particularly think I want to.
Yeah, yeah,
But the beginning was great because it just kind of felt like my usual, just training, fueling, and you're just working towards specific goals, so you're a little more dialed in. um, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed the initial stages. It's just as I got deeper into it, I went in, like I mentioned earlier, with a why not energy, and then I kind of had my answer before reaching the finish line of, oh, there's many reasons why one should not do
not.
this. And
Yeah,
you really want to, you have to keep that motivation going forward, that drive, and know why you're doing something and be hungry for it. And I didn't have a true hunger for it. I just thought it'd be cool to try, which was not quite enough.
yeah. Well, I mean, you did place third on your first show, right? Like that's still impressive as hell. I remember seeing you before the show. I was just like, wow, like you were muscle. Like it was just muscle. And I was like, that's like it was honestly it was utterly impressive watching you transform. It was so cool to see.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, it was cool for me to see as well. I had never seen myself that lean, and it was the most muscle I had had in my life and the leanest I had been at the time. So it was, yeah, it was something for me to see as well, and obviously
Okay.
experience.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So you mentioned to me that you didn't enjoy the experience, right? So what were some of the biggest factors that made it so unpleasant for you?
The biggest factor. the one main big factor was just the energy struggle for several months. So just needing to coach, tick off all the boxes for prep, be a mom, still be an alive and well human being. It just I wasn't balancing it all. I didn't feel like I had the energy stores for all of those things. And so I I couldn't operate in the way that I wanted to.
Okay.
Obviously, there needs to be kind of an adjustment of your priorities and your expectations, but it I felt that prep asked for an adjustment that I wasn't willing to give. So that was really
Okay.
difficult for me. But yeah, I feel bad saying I didn't enjoy the whole thing. I say that because I realized it wasn't for me, but there were so many
Yeah.
good moments and I learned so much from
Okay.
it. So it really wasn't all bad.
No, for sure, for sure. And like I'm sure there were times where even like despite like starving yourself, right, to a degree, because that is what you have to do to a certain point.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure seeing yourself in kind of like top physique form is also kind of like, wow, like I can do this. Like I've done it, so to speak, right? Like I look good, right? Like that's the aesthetic mindset. But like, so there's not just the physical reflection of what you're able to accomplish, but also the fact that you're able to push yourself emotionally and mentally to get to that point. It's like this is why like I've heard bodybuilders say, from Jay Cutler to Greg Doucette to a bunch of other people say, bodybuilding is not for the meek, right? It's yes, there's a lot of people who think that, oh, I could do it if X, Y, and Z, but no, it's taxing as hell, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely thought the mental and emotional aspect was more of a struggle for me. It is so because of the physical things you're going through, but yeah, definitely the stress response was difficult for sure.
Yeah. Well, a question about that too. I've done the research I've done on women bodybuilders specifically, especially those who compete. A lot of them, and feel free to tell me to shut up about this question, but like a lot of them, I've read their like lose their periods and stuff like that, and their hormones get like as you mentioned completely out of whack. Did any of that happen to you? And if so, like how was managing those things?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it's so different for so many women. With a hormonal IUD, which is what I have as my contraception, I already basically didn't have periods at the time, so there was no
Okay.
for me to notice. But definitely, when a woman gets to a certain leanness, you can lose your natural cycle, your natural rhythm, which is where we enter into the territory of like what's going to happen on a hormonal health level because things are just dysregulated and not in their optimal place. Um, I absolutely experienced that. I didn't have the period as an indication, but there were many other signs.
So that's why your boyfriend kept coming in with black eyes. No, just
Exactly. That was the main indication.
yeah. No, but thank you for letting us know because like a lot of people when they look at this, they look up at bodybuilders, both women and men, with this kind of air of like awe, right? Like, wow, they did this is good, stuff like that. But a lot of people don't realize that it's only extremely taxing on the body. Like it's not something that everyone can just do, right? It's hard to do. You have to push yourself to it. And there's a lot of other things that go along with it that don't factor into people's thinkings when they're looking at the athletes who go up on stage. So I know we mentioned a little bit about the physique. We talked about the negative takeaways and stuff like that, but what are some of the actual tangible positive takeaways? I know you talked about your training, how's improved and stuff like that, but like, can you quantify or qualify those positive things you took away from the entire experience?
Yeah, definitely. There's so many. One of the main ones I would say is, you know, I think this is goes for anyone, but I'll speak for women specifically. There's so much pressure in the world for, physique and body type and leanness and whatever it is, beauty standards. And it was pretty eye-opening for me to be as lean as I had ever been and to have not been any happier. So I carry that with me to this day. Prior, it might sound silly, but I mean, I was chasing something with this this feeling that if I got it, everything would be better and everything would line up and I would just look and feel the way that I wanted. And I got it and I just looked different and that's okay. And I wasn't happier and life wasn't better. And I think I really needed that.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the kind of realization of like, oh, I have it, but it's not what I thought it was type thing.
Well, yeah, like the answer or what I'm looking for isn't necessarily found in like the smallest possible version of myself. It's probably just something that I have to work on more mentally and emotionally. And it's like a different kind of work.
Okay. Okay. But I mean, at the very least, then you could say that, you know, going that route might not have gotten you to where you thought you wanted to be, but at least you went down the route fully. Like you went on stage, you competed, you did the whole thing, and you came away from it with going, okay, I've experienced that, I've attained this in life, so to speak. Checked off these boxes, didn't check off these boxes. So there's it at least gave you direction as to where you had to go to check off the other boxes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't regret doing it. It was quite an experience, but it was eye-opening for so many things. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's amazing. And so now that okay, it's been at least a few months since you were done competing at this point, right? Is it maybe a year? No?
It's been over a year. Yeah, I had competed in April of 2024.
Well, now that you've been training for still over a year and whatnot, you've explored now you did the whole kind of massage therapy and everything as well, and your whole perspective on healthy physical fitness has changed also. Um, did competing in a bodybuilding show change your perspective on how you train your clients? And specifically, to what degree they should push themselves or you should push them to push themselves?
Gosh, yes, absolutely. I was not training to failure until prep. And I wasn't even actually specifically instructed to do that by my coach, but
Okay.
I happened to start doing it because I was hungry for the results, and we were working on a goal, and I had a limited amount of time to get to where I wanted to be. So the output and the energy was, maxed out, and I realized how much of a difference that makes, just, training intensity. And of course, like, again, I can't emphasize enough the nutrition. It's just, you can train as hard as you want, but if you're not fueling to build and to hang on to the gains that you make, then you'll just be spinning your wheels. So I kind of had both of those factors working in my favor at the same time. And upon realizing that, I have much more of an emphasis on nutrition with my clients, even if it's not like nutrition coaching that they're seeking out, there will be a conversation about it. There will be check-ins about it. And above all, this was kind of already my philosophy before, but it just, every stage, everything that I go through just reinforces it so much that it's so much about personalization, just finding what works for each person, which I think is the beauty of coaching, because the information's out there. There aren't really any secrets. Like, we're in the information era. It's just about what is the perfect program and approach and schedule and diet for you personally. And yeah, it really helped me dial into that more with my clients.
That's awesome. So then when it came to training your clients specifically, right? Because you were coming back from, well, it's been a little more than a year at this point, as you mentioned, but like, I'm sure that that mentality of the fact that you have been on stage, you have gone through that grueling kind of thing. Um, do you find it challenging now to like reconnect with training in a, I guess, healthier, more sustainable way than you after like after the intense period? Or like in your case, did it make going back and kind of reestablishing training from a okay, because we're good, truth be told, bodybuilding we know is not healthy, but like when you came back to training afterwards, did it that kind of reset you to say, okay, now that I know what training to your extreme is for XYZ reasons, when you came to training people, did it kind of not enlighten, that's not the right word, but did it shift the focus on how to do it in a much more, because you mentioned about also like nutrition and everything, right? In a much more sustainable and maintainable way, like to get people to where they need to be. Like, is that like has that like significantly impacted your training styles?
Yeah, definitely. It's more the latter. It kind of helped me be more aligned with health, actually, and with just intention, because like I told you, I went into that competition with a why not approach, but when I realized that's not enough, it made me ask, okay, so why am I doing anything? Like, why am I training? What is my goal? What does it give me? And why am I here? And when you have your answer, ask another layer of why after that, because I think I didn't take the time to question my motivations. And once I started doing that, it's easy to actually just make all of your choices in line with your values instead of just kind of doing things randomly and
Yeah.
making effort towards the unknown. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm more dialed in on why I do what I do and what it gives me. And it's increased my success and my joy in training.
That's brilliant to hear. I love hearing that kind of stuff. You train until failure, not because failure is actually failing. You trail because in order to succeed, you need to fail, you know?
Yes,
And so like experiencing what you like, what you didn't like, what you could take away from the negative aspects and turn into a positive is like the exponential kind of ideology of that belief, right? It's so cool to say, yeah, I love training. I went on stage, I did this, I didn't like that. That's not going to go for me, but I know how to do this and this and this now so much better, and I can help other people do it too. You know, like
yeah,
that's paying it forward, so to speak. You know, without
sure.
starving your clients. But yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so then looking back at this point, do you feel that competition prepped you in any way for how you approach challenges now? Not necessarily training your clients, but challenges that you face in fitness, whether it's like trying to hit a PR or trying to get your clients to improve physically. Like, has that experience of going through that grueling hardship, has that taught you anything to either impart to your clients or for yourself to push through difficulties?
Definitely, yeah. I would say the main takeaway is that, there's a bunch of information and research out there, and it's awesome to learn, but biofeedback is so important, and your body is speaking to you every single day. It's so important to be in dialogue with yourself, and responding to what your body is asking of you is crucial in all aspects of life. So even if it's unrelated to the gym or fitness, I mean, just kind of tapping into like your nervous system, like how are your stress levels, like how is your body feeling in response to anything, and responding based on that. Because yeah, you can have endless information, but your body is a huge resource as well, and that's how you know when something isn't right or when you're in the right direction or how to respond to any kind of challenge along the way.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. And so then from the fitness side of things now, are there any direct benefits that you still have learned through your prep? Like, not necessarily lifting specifically, but when it comes to what you have to do to prep for your competition, what you tell your clients and for your own training, like after the fact, what are some of the key aspects you can take away from it that are positive? Sure, there could be some negatives, but like, what are some of the key positive aspects you took away from it that um not only directly benefited your fitness training following the competition, but also that you carry forth with you. So, like, we talked a little bit about resilience, right? How to be able to, starve yourself for 3 years and then go on stage. But I'm exaggerating. I have no like it wasn't that long. It would take me that long maybe to do it, but she did it in like 2 days. So yeah. Um, so yeah, like so. What kind of things did you take away from that perspective?
I would say just the fact that there's so many variables involved, just it's not just about going to the gym and eating less food. It's like I said, like the whole system, caring for everything, and especially God, I definitely learned the importance of like the stress levels. So just wellness overall, ticking off all those boxes, supplementation, hydration, rest and recovery. Those you hear about those things anyways, but just the ups and downs in the process, the fact that it's not, bulk, cut, eat more, eat less, it's, refeeds and then like eating less and then cutting this macro and that macro and just really manipulating variables and understanding that the body is so much more complex than we think. So there's just more to it, and learning more about that has been so exciting, and definitely it applies to how I approach everything regarding health, fitness, and my lifestyle now. And absolutely, anything that I have benefited from and learned from, I'll pass on to my clients, of course, in a way that is relevant to them personally. But
Sure.
it's just not so cookie cutter, and it's not so the picture isn't so obvious. And I actually love that because it's more interesting that way, and just kind of learning those little nitty gritty details just is fascinating. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And like, so Given your experience with how nutrition affected everything, you got your certifications and your training from NASA, right? The National North American, and it's an
National
acronym with a bunch of science and stuff like that. Yeah, a good science program where people get certified for this stuff. Are you planning on getting certified in any kind of nutritional background also to help your clients with that? Or is it going to be more anecdotal in the sense of like going through what your training experience is and how, and because you know how to train people and your anecdotal experience, like, are you going to be doing that? Or do you plan on incorporating more nutritional aspects into your regime as well?
Yeah, funny you should ask. I actually have purchased already the NASM nutrition coach course. I just have yet to complete it, but I'm
Okay.
I'm pretty much as interested in nutrition as I am in training. So definitely it's something I want to add to the tool belt. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you hear it here, folks. She's going to be a complete expert to teach you everything from A to Z, and hopefully how to go through bodybuilding and enjoy it, as opposed to, the not eating, not taking energy experience. Um, but okay, awesome. So now I want to bring it to something a bit more personal, right? Like motherhood and training and all this kind of stuff. So how has becoming a mom, like I know becoming a mom is kind of what essentially got you onto the fitness track, right? But as a mom, comparing yourself to say your friends who are women also who don't have kids necessarily, how has that approach changed your look on fitness? Like, how does it change your mindset compared to, say, other women your age who might necessarily be moms or might just be single or where motherhood isn't an issue for them necessarily, right? Yet. Um, how has that like configured your mindset compared to theirs, would you say? And what is your mindset when it comes to fitness at this point?
Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of parents saying, I train for my kids so that, I can live long and be around for them. I I don't actually resonate with that personally.
Okay.
Kind of weird, but it's just I don't I don't feel like I do things for like my fitness is for him. It's for me. It's very much like something that I love and that makes me so happy. And I want to set a good example to him, of course. I want him to see me actually taking care of myself. And it's like in that way, I almost want to keep it a little selfish. It's like I want him to see me doing things that are good for me. And it's not
Yeah.
actually about him, and then I want him to do that for himself. So like that's more where the example aspect comes in.
Okay.
Uh, and I mean, once I started lifting, just my whole life had a glow up. Everything became healthier, stronger, and more balanced. And so why would I let that go? Of course, as not only as a mother but as a person.
Yeah.
And the aspect of having structure, routine, and habits that are built on self-improvement. That's something that, again, I want that for myself, and I want my son to see that and jump on the same wagon.
That I absolutely love the way you worded that, right? Like, yeah, it's a good example for my son and I want him to follow it, but it's for me to be healthy for me. It's for me to be strong for me. And that's perfect because you're not relying on someone else's perspective of you because to train, you're hoping that it has an effect on them, sure, but you're doing it for yourself, which
Yeah.
is the ultimate thing, which I think is one of the biggest things that people need to realize in fitness. You're doing it for you. When you go to the gym, yeah, when I go to the gym, I look angry. I'm not there to talk. Like, yes, I love talking to people, I love socializing, but when I'm lifting a weight, I'm not approachable. And it's not because I hate people, but it's because I'm doing it for me, and it's my zone, right? Which I like is kind of imparted in what you said because yeah, you're doing it for yourself, for the good of him, sure, as an example, as something to take to the bank to be like, yeah, my mom does this. I can do it too. I can stay just as healthy as her and like gets just as strong and all this kind of stuff. But like again, you're leading from example, not do as I say, not as I do type thing. This is a do as I do and as I say, you know? But no, but that's an amazing example, especially as a mom, right? Um, and so what advice and this is a good one. This is a big one, right? So, what advice would you give to moms or, well, anyone with a busy schedule, really, who are struggling to prioritize their own health? Because it's happened to me, like where I've let myself go. I've gained a lot of weight. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm kind of like a roller coaster type thing right now. But like, but a lot of people go through that, right? Like, so how important is it to you to prioritize your health? But how should you what kind of message you like to give to people? Like, it doesn't have to be moms necessarily, but like moms, dads, people in general who always think that they don't have time to prioritize their health or don't know how to do it in such a way that's able to be consistently held, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, consistency is the secret and also the hardest part. I would say this is another where the personalization aspect comes in. You know, what is realistic for you as an individual in your particular life? What can you manage? And, you know, finding the time, maybe it's not going to be an hour and a half, 5 days a week at the gym, lifting heavy weights. Maybe it's going to be like 20 minutes here and there at home. But finding what's realistic for you and knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be. And you know, these things tend to kind of naturally grow with time. So if you just start or try or do what you can, it does matter. It does make a difference. And any amount of effort is better than none. So, I mean, I think you hear that everywhere, but it's just so true. Like just finding the time to do whatever you can is so important. Um, and I think for moms specific, parents actually, they do get into that mindset often of, oh, the kids come first. The kids come first. And that's why I like keeping my looking selfish. It's like, no, you actually come first because you came
Yeah.
first. You were whole before your child existed.
Yeah.
So that just matters on its own. And your child matters so much too. And it's not one can't replace the other. Just both matter.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's extremely important thing to do. That doing it for yourself doesn't inherently mean that you're taking away anything from your kid. If anything, since I know for myself, since training with you, since my son was born and stuff like that and everything, and I come back, like that training, that resilient energy that going to the gym gives me more time with him, despite it tiring me out too, which it's a weird conundrum, but it works. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Um, so then do you ever train with your kids and or involve them in the whatever routine you're doing in that for that day, like, or that week? Maybe you're doing it like once every couple of days with your kid. Like, do you ever bring him along, like, to I know I have dreams. I want to do squats. I want to do push-ups. I want to have him on my back. I want to, like, what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever do things like maybe not necessarily like that, but like, do you ever train with your kid like that sometimes?
Yes, absolutely. So when he was younger, I mean, I was using him as a weight for sure. I mean, he was 2 years old during the COVID lockdown time, so he was, my little like sandbag to, use for my exercises at home sometimes. And I love the idea of kind of integrating training into playtime. So again, to involve him in my own training as well as get him excited about training. We have a great home gym set up here, so I've had full on workouts with my son at home, and he gets
Nice.
excited about it. It's so cute. It's just play with weights, so
Yeah.
it's fun for him. And I brought him to the gym as well, and he kind of has to sit on the sideline, but he gets to cheer me on while I'm doing my training sometimes, and he enjoys it.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that you're bringing him into the fitness world also because it sets an example for him that working out, being fit isn't necessarily like something that you have to dread doing, right? That it's something fun because you enjoy training as well, right? So it's setting up a good example not just of the physical habit, but also of the emotional and mental habit of this is something fun to do. Working out should not be hard. Like, okay, no, that's not true. It should be very hard. However, it shouldn't be something you dread doing. Like for me, when I go to the gym, most of the time I have a smile on my face. I love going to the gym. It hurts like hell, but I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
This is kind of more of a, I guess, a social media and fitness aspect of things, right? Because we're talking about kids and the reflection of other people. So I know there's a lot of glamorization of fitness on social media, like what we're doing now with Fitness Beast, kind of so to speak, like social media and trying to start my business and everything. But with the glamorization of it all, uh, how do you personally navigate the space whether it's, what's your message to people feeling pressured by those perfect fitness images, or like where they see that like perfect body, whether it's male or feminine, um like the perfect lighting, the perfect shading, like what's your message to those people who are affected by these things, who very well might be your son, might be my son, kids their age that we're going to grow up around this stuff. They're going to be so inundated with social media compared to we, even us, you know and
Yeah.
for us it's daily. So what's your message to that group of people coming up?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say, I mean, luckily there's content out there now that's putting putting a spotlight on that very fact, showing bodies relaxed and, and in poor lighting, this pose
Yeah.
in its lighting, and just to show the extreme contrast between them. And you know, I've definitely these types of medias have had their effect on me as well. Like there's no question about it. Just in terms of not understanding what bodies look like, relaxed and not in good lighting, just an understanding of what the human body actually looks like. um,
Yeah.
I think it's important to actually curate your social media around that. So I've unfollowed many accounts of many inspiring people because I just have acknowledged the effect that it has on my mental health, and I don't think it's productive for me to be indulging in that kind of content on the regular. So I mean, to each their own how you want to structure your your content access, and how the things you decide to invest your time and attention into or not. But just having that understanding that it is glamorized, like the word you used, it is a glamorized version of reality, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just important to not lose sight of that. um, as for how I use my social media, because an aspect of that glamorization is also kind of workouts that look cool and fun and exciting, but they're not necessarily how people actually got the bodies that you're looking to achieve. I post the same thing all the time because I do the same thing all the time. I post my meals, they look the same. I post my training, they look the same. Similar movements, redundant stuff, repetition, consistency. I post it and it's not cool and it's not sexy. And I just do it anyways because it's the truth and I want to share that.
I keep remembering the was it the split squats where you had like your leg on the back and you go like I I hated those, but
Yeah,
but they're
Bulgarian.
so painful. Bulgarians, like, yeah, so painful but so worth it. Like, okay, guys who are listening, this chick has the quads, like, and the strength in her legs, like it's watching her train is painful.
I'm
But
honored.
she really knows what she's doing. So, speaking of Bulgarians, what are some of your favorite training methods and styles now that you're focused on balance instead of like specifically competition, right? And
Yeah.
don't say painful legs, because that's a given.
Yeah, well, I did realize since prep that, as much as I love lifting heavy, that strength focused training is different than hypertrophy training. I mean, I knew it, but I know it on a deeper level now. And it's, you know, strength training asks a lot of your body that you don't necessarily have to go through the recovery demands that are so difficult on the nervous system unless you have very specific strength goals. Of course, you always want to be getting stronger. That's how you grow, that's how you improve. And that's a given for me. But yeah, shifting a little bit more to hypertrophy focused training and a little bit away from the kind of lower rep ranges for strength gains is something that made my overall approach to lifting more in line with my goals. Like my body transformed a little bit more in the way that I wanted it to because of a hypertrophy focus. Um, I just love lifting heavy.
Yeah.
I still do, but yeah, it's just everything is tailored towards my goals in a more specific way. Um, and I shifted my focus very much to the lower body because I just have a build that grows upper body more easily. I put on mass there more easily than in the lower body because I have long limbs in the lower end, kind of like a broader rib cage and shorter torso in the upper, which is kind of conducive to looking more compact and more buff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned more about my body and I geared my training towards just really hypertrophy of the legs and I just love Bulgarian split squats. I love a good Romanian deadlift. And of course, I actually don't love hip thrusting, but I have insisted on doing them more often now, and the benefits are undeniable.
I mean, that could be for another conversation, but uh, but I totally get you. That's actually one exercise that I've seen women be able to, even yourself, be able to do like a hip thrust with like weights that I deadlift, and they're just doing like hip thrusts, and I'm just like, I that's impressive. Like it's impressive the amount of strength that women use in those like anywho, that's it is what it is, right? That is an exercise that
Yeah,
almost every woman does.
for sure.
So if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice then, before you entered into the fitness world, I guess before you became a mom, then also, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a huge one. I mean, I learned so many things the hard way. I'm inclined to give a little cheat list to my past self,
Eh,
but I would say that if I had to pick just one, it would be to just really question everything that you're doing, question all the journeys that you embark on, to just move forward with intention. I just find it changes everything. Kind of not not knowing exactly why you're doing something or not having explored that properly can just set you on the wrong path and you're kind of waste your time a little bit. I know that it's a learning opportunity and you end up learning and that's great, but if you just kind of ask those questions from the get-go, you can save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of time and just really get on track with what's most calling to you.
and so then would you say that that kind of mental perspective of taking more active agency of your life, right? For lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Uh, would you say that's something you learned via fitness, or is that something that you've been learning prior and fitness just kind of reinforced it, or did fitness have nothing to do with it? Like, like how did that develop?
Definitely, I can credit it to fitness. I think that I started kind of embarking on other types of journeys because of fitness that led me to where I am right now. But
Mhm.
it all falls under the kind of health and wellness and self development umbrella. And it all started with the gym, 100%.
Yeah.
So just, like I said, it's just progressively overloading at the gym and then doing the same thing in life in all aspects of yourself. Yeah.
No, that's amazing and great advice for anyone who's listening to really follow her lead because, like, listening to her story, like, I remember and I'm going to share a little bit about when we first started training on that where George St. Pierre trains on Saint Jacques, that that place he used to
Right.
train at. I forget what it was called. But
Totally.
yeah, so um, when you told me the story of like what you mentioned at the beginning of this, like how lifting your son was kind of like the impetus to get you to train, right? That perspective and just taking it upon yourself because you want to do it for you also. Like those are they're so important that people need to remember that health is not just about the aesthetics. It's not just about the doing it for other people, your kids, your partner, all this kind of stuff. It's doing it for yourself, not just to show yourself that you can do it and like achieve those things, but also once you do get to that level or to get to those successes, it helps drive you further in life throughout everything else. And
Absolutely.
that's such an important message I find that people lose in transition when it comes to or translation rather when it comes to fitness, right? They look at fitness like, oh, it's because he's bodybuilding for a show or she's doing this for like bikini, whatever. It's all aesthetics, it's all this, it's other thing. But it's not. It's a mental kind of push that and strength that you develop that I don't think is easily attainable anywhere. Like I'm sure there are other things you can do in life where you can get that same kind of resilience, maybe. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I like weightlifting too much to say that that's true. So I would say I would have to say that, you have to get that at the gym, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that lifting also just reinforced not only my self-confidence, but my self-respect and self-trust because you're, every day that you want something and you don't do it, or that you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you're breaking trust with yourself, right? It's kind of like you
Yeah.
wouldn't say something to a friend and not do it, but we're so quick to do that to ourselves. And I think that's damaging. I think that has an effect on us and on our self-perception. So it's definitely fitness is a way to just grow in strength on every level from building that self-respect and self-trust with yourself. Definitely.
Those are amazing words, Rachel. Honestly, thank you so much for saying that because that's so important for people to hear. Um, so with all that being said, what does fitness mean to you right now?
Right now, honestly, the main thing, it might sound cheesy, like to me fitness is just joy. Like it's just joy. Like I it's an important aspect of health and wellness to me, and I love health and wellness. Not only having it, but just the very topic itself and learning more about it. But the gym is my playground. Honestly, I'm happy every time I go. I'm happier every time I leave than when I arrived. So to me, it's just like I said before, it's for me, it's a joy in my life. And the fact that it is in line with self-improvement, growth, and my better self is just like a huge bonus.
No, that's amazing. So, sell yourself. Like, what do you want to tell people? What do you want to let them know about fitness? About, if they want to if they want to start competing, if they want to do all those kind of things, like, what do they have to know? And also, if any of you are interested, if she's taking clients, what do they have to do to get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll start with if anyone's thinking of competing, like I said already, ask yourself why, answer the questions, think about it. And
I'm vain.
you have your answer.
Yeah.
So definitely get a coach. I highly recommend. Like, I don't think that um, the coach is optional when prepping yourself. It's just it's a must have. But also question your coach. Don't just do whatever someone says in any context ever. Just learn along the way, ask your questions, and make sure that you're doing everything with intention and with knowledge. And as for getting in touch with me, my main place to get in touch with me is Instagram. So, of course, you could also reach me through the contact of the gym that I work out, Platform 6610. So they have their website, and of course, they can be called as well. But I have my Instagram, which is Coach underscore Ray Madrosky, and you can actually sign up directly for coaching with me online through the links in my bio. And otherwise, you can DM me for any questions or inquiries, whether it's for one on one coaching or just general information. I'm happy to help.
Okay, that's awesome, folks. You heard it here. I've trained with her myself. She's an amazing trainer. I'm not saying she doesn't tell the trainer. I've seen everyone who works out with her is extremely happy. All her information is going to be down below in the description box if you want to get in touch with her. And yeah, I'll be listing all of her socials down there as well. And read the description, go through it. You'll find all her information. And with that, if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, leave them in the message box below. Subscribe to the channel, and you'll have all her contact information. You can do the same thing for her. Give her a shout out, guys. She's a great coach. She's doing great things in the fitness world, and we need to help her out. Follow her page. Give her all your support. She's an amazing coach, as I mentioned before. And yeah, so thank you so much, Rachel. And I'll see you at the gym.
Yeah, thank you, David.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.